So I've already experienced this game, but I love what it does, and so I wanted to share it with you guys. Grab your gear, press the A button or enter key. Parkour. So this is a game called Game Type, and it is awesome. It is hilarious and quirky and clever, and I love the idea. Oh yeah, I will read this because it's important. I summon Wall of Text. The Xbox 360 menu system, or dashboard, controls how gamers find digital games on the console. The fall of 2011 update to the dashboard relegated the main path and to browse all new digital games, arcade indie games on demand to a single ill-named tile. This tile was called Game Type. Between the terrible name and the absurd picture, it seemed no one really thought too hard about the game portal. In addition, TV and movies were now first on the menu. Bothered and subsequently inspired by this, I made Game Type. In this game, you play on your new Media Ball console. Within this mock ad-written console, there are two games. The first game is to find the game type tile in the menus, and the second is to play game type itself. In the shoot 'em up game type, advertisements have come to life, and you have to lead an idiotic stock photo of a hoodie girl to save the day. Parkour! Nathan. Okay, so it's an angsty kind of take that of sorts. Chat cat. Um, it's an angsty critical kind of thing, commenting on, are you ready? Almost first time. Say be here. Hey guys, I'm here. Time's up for me. Gotta go later. Um, it is critical, and I called it the Vaporwave of video games when I was analyzing it the first time because it's awesome and hilarious and critical of what all there is. Eh, 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 eh. Um, the The concept I thought was kind of a legitimate criticism of sorts, and while it's not the greatest game by any means, it's just a really simple shmup. I think it's a thing that people need to see because it's awesome in that regard. Here's music. This because here's Shoot One Up. This is another one of the games by Mommy's Best Games. Maybe we'll play at some point. I don't know if Escape goes by Mommy's Best or if it's by someone else. Game Marketplace. Oops, wait. What about featured first? Yeah, there's that. Okay. New arrivals. Features. Um, but yeah, its criticism is completely legitimate. Um, parkour. Parkour. So it's just this goofy little shooter, but what they're basically saying is that the Xbox community, for trying to kind of market itself as a place for gaming and as specifically a game focused game system, as it were. Um, they made it so that finding the games you're looking for is unnecessarily frustrating and obnoxious and complicated, and I think that's a completely acceptable thing to criticize because the whole reason people buy your game is for what you market it as, which is gaming, and then you automatically sell out to companies that are trying to make the money off of selling movies and stuff like that. And it's very similar in style to uh, lobbying for companies, lobbying the government, in that the people who spend the most money get control over what you experience and how your life goes. And so you may have spent all this money on a game console and then have trouble finding games when you're trying to find new games to enjoy. And so I totally love the idea that someone would criticize it in a quirky and goofy way. It's definitely angst-ridden. It's definitely, whiny and kind of first world problemsy, I suppose. But it's fun. It's silly. They made a game out of it. I mean, it's not the best game of all time. It's a decent game. Um, it's an endless shooter. There's no like final thing. I think there is a boss if you get to like loop 5 or something, but there's no like end goal. It's not that type of game. And other things that it kind of criticizes is trying to be hip and edgy in ways that make no sense, and tying things in that don't make any sense, like a parkour shooter. What does that even mean, for example? And I don't know. I thought it was silly and funny, and Shin thought it was the dumbest game. Shin was not so into it. He liked some of Mommy's Best games. At some point, I'm gonna have him play Weapon of Choice because he really liked it. He thought it was silly. I think they're all silly. I really like the Mommy's Best Pack. It's really, for its money, I mean, obviously there are clearly better games out there for maybe the same price, but for an independent studio, they made some cute little fun games, and it's fine. Um, I'd like to see more from them. I definitely think they did an interesting job at kind of interesting and original art style for their games, and interesting and original gameplay, and they tried out some quirky things that maybe a more wealthy team might not have tried. They might have tried to stick more on the safe side. However, Mommy's Best games, typically very, very strange games, and I like that. I think they're fun in various different aspects. And so, yeah, if you're looking for some weird experiences that are not bad, check out Mommy's Best Games. They're pretty neat. This was the one that I thought was the silliest, the funniest, because I totally understand the criticism that they're levying, and I thought it was pretty legitimate. Shin, on the other hand, is more don't make any statements ever. I don't mind political statements. I did say before in my Gone Home thing, I don't mind political statements. I just don't want the game to just shove it down your throat. Um, this, I guess you could say it does, but since it's more making a game around a political statement instead of making a game and shoehorning in a political statement, I don't mind it as much. How do I go out? Awards. Yeah, I didn't beat the chat cat boss because you have to reach certain loops. Um, it's okay. It's not the greatest game to ever exist, but I thought it was a funny little thing, so I figured I'd just throw it in on a day when Shin wasn't here. And it's super short. It's a silly little game. So if you thought it was funny, check it out. Get more of the games from that company because their other ones are more just like standard gameplay type games, but they still are very quirky and silly. Um, Definitely worth checking out. Yeah, it's got like a Fireflower looking thing. Be right back.